Miss, start me on all.
Ole.
Start.
Ole. Oh. Hello, everyone. My name is Mrs. Melson Krongi, Assistant Professor from the Department of Botany. I would like to welcome you all on tonight's inaugural program on 1 Week International webinar on Science in the 21st Century. Our webinar is jointly organized by the Department of Sciences of Govt Serchhip College, and the main purpose of our webinar is to create a platform for the expert in the fields of science and to share their experiences and knowledge on advanced development in the field of science and technology. Our webinar will be 1 week, and during our 1 week webinar, we'll be having 6 resource persons, and I would like to give a brief introductions of our resource person. Tonight's resource person will be our very own Dr. S. Beihrosa. He's a senior faculty and he's from the Department of Zoology, Govt Serchhip College. And on Monday night, we will be having Professor R.K. Thapa, Department of Physics from MZU. And on Tuesday night, we will be having 2 presenters, Miss Dr. Esther Nunmoy, Department of Biotechnology, and Mr. Gevalal Dimpuya, Department of Chemistry, PUC. And on Wednesday night, we will be having Professor H. Tila Remsanga, Department of Zoology from MZU. And on Thursday night, we will be having Dr. Aditya Kumar Jain. She's from University of London. And on Friday night, we will be having Dr. Lelshan Dami, a consultant from Ayush Department. And moving on to our next program, I would like to request our respected principal, Mr. P. Sila Remsiama, to deliver a welcome speech.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll start. It gives me immense pleasure and pride to deliver a welcome address in this highly anticipated 1 week international webinar on science in the 21st century, jointly organized program by the science departments of our institution. First of all, my sincere thanks and appreciation goes to all my colleagues in the science departments who have efficiently coordinated to bring this valuable webinar program to reality, and also on behalf of all the faculty of this institution, as well as on my behalf as a principal of the college, I would like to welcome and extend my heartiest thanks and gratitude to all our esteemed resource persons who have consented to our humble requests to enlighten us with their expertise in their own respective fields during the course of this webinar. Without them, this webinar program would not be possible. And lastly, I would like to welcome and thank all the attendees of this webinar tonight, teachers and students alike, for sparing your time to be with us here. And I also humbly request you all to present yourselves in coming nights of this week-long webinar program as well. I am sure that this webinar program would enable each and every one of us to proceed one step further in our future academic endeavors and our pursuit towards greater achievements. Science affects all of us, whether we know it or not. Science teaches us how to think analytically and help us in solving many of our problems. Science could also help us to live longer by providing us with better nutrition and better medical facilities and all other facilities also, and thereby reduces child mortality also. Lastly, science led to the creation of technologies we use every day and so on and so forth. And on this note, I welcome you all again to this webinar, and we may also have a great and fruitful interaction throughout the course of this program. Thank you.
For your wonderful speech. Now we will call our presenter for tonight, Dr. S. Beihrosa, to deliver a speech on recent advances in science.
Thank you, Ms. You have already disabled screen sharing, Ms. You have to make it able. I cannot screen share.
Sir, can you try again?
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's coming. Okay, can you see my slide? Recent advances in science.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I can proceed. So tonight, my topic is going to be recent advances in science. So it's a broad topic. So I'm going to touch each and every subject here and there. So I would like to request our listener to bear with me. And since it covers different subjects, it might be slightly difficult to follow as well. But this is just a brief introductory webinar. This is just an iceberg for what is supposed to come in the following week. So as an introduction, due to recent advancement in science in different fields, we have major breakthrough in solving many of our common problems in the field of medicine as well as in the field of agriculture and various biotechnological streams. So because of that, we have overcome many problems. And advancement in science and research, it seeks to approaches many various problems encountered in the field of research education, and it also promotes other disciplinary efforts relating to the promotions of betterment of mankind. And as a whole, the main aim of research in science is to improve human life, okay, in different activities. But because of some faulty research and uh, some scientists who are what to say against mankind, we also overcome different sort of bioweapon that can cause destruction. So tonight we are going to concentrate more in the recent advances in science that we have come across in different fields. So first, I'm going to just highlight some of the biotechnological advancements we have. So traditionally, our grandfathers, great-great-grandfathers have their own way of doing biotechnological stream in the field of hybridization and by selective inbreeding as well. They improve plants and animals, okay, so that they can rear genetic, what to say, unimproved animal that can improve the product. And because of mutation and selection also, we have come across a better varieties of plants and animals. And when advances in science becomes more rapid, okay, we enter molecular field. So once we enter molecular biology, we somehow came to learn about the technique of recombinant DNA technology. So once we are able to apply recombinant DNA technology, we can improve what to say the genetic material of both plants and animals. So that nowadays we have different sorts of even genetically modified plants and animals. So these things have its own advantages as well as disadvantages, which I'm going to highlight in the coming slide. And not only that, recent advances in science also manage to find out problems of gene bank, so that once particular good genes are detected, they can be stored for future use. And it's not only that, recent advances in science also helps in human genome sequencing as well. So human genome sequencing is not just a simple thing, okay? So once we are able to sequence human genome, we will be easily able to detect faulty genes in our system, so that once we detect the faulty genes, we can somehow replace with the correct genes, okay? Its usefulness is very fast, and uh, many of the medical problems we face nowadays are because of this gene malfunction only. So it stems from the basic roots of gene problem. So once we are able to finally sequence this human genome, so there may come a time when we will be easily able to replace the faulty genes with the good genes, okay, so that we may overcome different sorts of illness like cancer and many of the genetically born diseases. And another aspects of biotechnological improvement is cell culture, like tissue culture. And it's not only that, even cloning of organism is possible. So in cloning, similar animal is produced, okay, even from a single cell. So with these, we don't require so much raw materials, and we don't have to worry about this inbreeding or crossbreeding, okay? So what we need is a single cell. So from a single cell, we will be able to generate thousands and millions of cells using stem cell technology. So, so that even these methods can be easily applied to both plants and animals, so that the good variety of genes will be easily replicated for future use. So this will be easily applicable for both plants and animals, so that it can be very useful in medicinal line as well. As we are very much aware of this, most of our problems today in medical field is because of what to say, cancer and various other genetically born problems. So that if we have come across this uh, technology, we can easily replace with a good one in layman terms. And another major breakthrough we have in the field of biotechnology is bioinformatics and genomics, proteomics. And while I was doing my MSc, most of my colleagues were from bioinformatics department. So these fellows usually spend a lot of time in calculating these genes and that. Even though I could not very much familiarize myself with these things, they are trying to replicate genetic sequencing and genomes into what to say, mm, computer computing. Okay, so that's the way I can easily explain. Uh, it's somewhat scientific, but it has its own computer application as well. So a man has to be both expert in these two lines. And the application of this biotechnical advancement is very fast. So in agriculture, its application can be seen in different streams. So in health as well, we have different sorts of antibiotics, anti-tumor activities, and in agriculture, plants growth enhancement as well as what to say, manufacture of disease resistance plants as well. And they also enhance the yield of plants, okay? And in industry also, in animal feed also. Even in Mizoram, I think we have a lot of poultry feed that come from outside. So these things have growth enhancer as well. And they also have antibiotic as well and growth promoting substances. That's why most of the poultry feeds and pig feeds we have, when we feed to our animals, they grow a lot within a short period of time. So later I'm going to compare the advantages as well as disadvantages of it. So anyhow, it fulfills its promise. Okay, let's put it this way. So whatever we give it to them, actually they fulfill their requirement and criteria. So that's the good part. And even in environmental problem solving also, this biotechnical advancement is very vast and very efficient. So we may come across different sorts of pollutions which may easily come from air pollutions, or it may be even from what to say, different sorts of oil recovery as well as nutrient cycling in each and every aspects of nutrient cycle. Okay, we can come across various sorts of pollution. It can be even wastewater treatment. So for solving and to detect this sort of problem, okay, we can easily identify biotechnological technology. So even simple fungus can be used to overcome this sort of problem. And even these microorganisms like fungus, bacteria, viruses, even they can be used as bioindicators. Okay, so they can be easily utilized to detect what we don't really know, what lies beneath. So to know and understand fully the various aspects of this thing, we need to carry out more research. So let's get to this cross breeding that has been practically widespread these days. So the upper pictures are layers only, and the lowers are broiler only. We have this sort of animal because of selective cross breeding only. So the upper two will keep on laying eggs, and the lower one they can also lay eggs, but their main purpose is for meat production. So whatever be the case, they they are far more efficient than uh, the common fowl we have nowadays. So these things, I mean, this layer will keep on laying eggs for long periods of time. So if you take an example of this common fowl, they will be able to lay eggs for only up to around 10 to 15 days. So beyond that, it will not be possible. And regarding layer, okay, what happens is that it will take not more than 2 months to reach maturity stage. So if you take common chicken, for an example, you will take at least 1 year. So from economic perspective, it is far more wiser to go for this type of specific breeding to feed the growing demand of the whole world. So if we keep on relying, what to say, common domestic plants and animals. It will be very difficult to feed the ever increasing size of population all over the world. So because of that only, we are forced to go for selective breeding. As an old saying goes, necessity is the mother of invention. So these things might have their own disadvantages as well as advantages. But what I can say is that it is the need of our present day because as our population keeps on increasing at a high rate, this is the only solution we have. And one of the most remarkable advances in science is genetic engineering, which is also called as gene manipulation or genetic modification. Actually, mm, every set of plants and animals have their own genetic pool. Okay, so that that gene pool can be easily altered using genetic engineering, so that we can bombard it one gene from another animal to another animal, so that those, I mean, the newly generated one, the genetically modified one, will become highly advanced in scientific. And the same way, the same technology can be applied to animals, plants as well. And this this genetic engineering can also be applied among different species, not only among similar species. That's the very uh, advantage of going for genetically modified plants and animals. So we have different types of genetically modified food, okay, both plants and animals here. And even tomato, mm, some of the tomatoes are genetically modified food, and we have golden rice here. Actually, it has a rich component of beta carotene, so that in poor countries, those people who are having malnutrition problem, this rice is supplied to solve the problem of beta carotene malnutrition. And most of the sweet corns we have are genetically modified food. And uh, even in Mizoram, we have come across several times an advertisement of canola oil. And more than 80% of the canola oil we have are genetically modified. So if you are thinking of using canola oil, uh, you have to think twice again. If you are so much against genetically modified food, I suggest you better not go for canola oil, okay? Because we don't know the source, okay, where it comes from. So unless you are sure, it's better to avoid. And we have BG cotton as well that comes from genetically modified. Actually, we are not going to eat this particular cotton, but if domesticated cattle and other animals feed on these BT cotton leaves and all, that's where the problem starts. So everything is intertwined. So we have to be very careful. So I'm not saying that we should be very much against GM food. I'm saying that we have to be very selective about what we eat because it directly affects our health. So keeping that into perspective, we have to study the pros and cons of this GM food. So these are some of genetically modified food pictures I can get from the net. And uh, since genetically modified food have various roles, okay? Both advantages as well as disadvantages. We shall try to compare and contrast the pros and cons. So what are the advantages? Actually, since genetically modified food is having altered DNA, okay? So the scientists are not simply altering the DNA, okay? They alter to meet a specific requirement. So as we are very much aware, uh, uh, plants and animals have their own diseases. And even plants have several problems of insect and pest infestation. So the main aim is to protect the plants from insect and pests. So when they alter the DNA of the specific plant, when the insect feeds on them, the insect will die. Okay, they will become very much resistant to those particular insects, so that the plants will become very healthy. And
Excuse me, sir. Sir, can
yes,
you put your screen on full screen mode, sir?
why is it not properly visible? Is it better?
It's the same, sir. It's okay, sir. You can carry on, sir.
Okay. It's refusing to work properly. That's why. Okay. Another another properties. Another cool properties of a genetically modified food is to fight stressful conditions, which is Govt. Okay. So generally, most of the plants will not be able to withstand Govt. Okay, they will easily perish. So this genetically modified food doesn't require much water, so they can survive better using altered DNA. And it's not only that, even the product have an increased nutrition value. So as I have mentioned about golden rice before, even most of the common GM food we have will definitely have higher nutritional value. And besides that, they have an increased flavor. And for those who are engaged in farming, they are very cost effective and also cheaper compared to these traditional domesticated plants and animals. And uh, coming to the disadvantage of GM food, some people, okay, a few selected people will have allergic reaction to GM food. So this allergic reaction may even lead to death in certain cases. So we don't really know how safe it will be for continual use. And even though there is no direct research linking of GM food to cancer, uh, many people suspect that uh, continual consumption of GM food may lead to cancer. And another great concern of genetically modified food is uh, we relate to environmental and health concerns. So, for example, when GM plants are grown in the field, uh, initially they won't require application of pesticides and insecticides as well. So, because these plants will mm, tolerate pesticides and insecticides as well, so that the farmer can easily kill the pests using insecticides without the fear of harming the plants. But the thing is that that continual application of pesticides in the field will make pesticides and insecticides resistance among the pests. So the farmers will need to apply more and more in the coming years. So the environment will be intoxicated with those continual applications. And another important development in the field of recent sign is with respect to vaccine production. So nowadays, everyone is worried about COVID-19. So uh, people have passed away. Even in Mizoram, we have many people passing away because of COVID-19. And these are the two vaccines that have been in use in India, in our country. So even though the formula and the principle of manufacturing these vaccines are entirely different, uh, actually it is of recent development that is developed from our own country. So now without advance in science, it would not have been possible to have these vaccines within a short period of time. And if you think about the casualty, the victim, okay, who are dead because of COVID-19, the numbers will be very high. If we had not taken this vaccine, okay, the number of people who might have been killed because of infecting from COVID-19 will be even more than 1,000. That's just my assumption. And even regarding uh, the vaccine type is different. Okay, we have different sort of vaccine like inactivated vaccine, attenuated vaccine, messenger RNA, or top immunity recombinant. We have the Govt vaccine. We have our viral vaccines as well. So mm, all these different type of vaccines have their own advantage and disadvantage as well. But the thing is, they have specific requirements. In certain diseases, okay, they are forced to make only particular vaccines, not according to their choice, but according to the situation that we have to understand. And another recent advances we have in uh, science is with reference to transplantation. Uh, Not long ago, when people suffer from a certain organ disorder, actually they will just have to face that within a short period of time. But because of advancements in science and transplantation experiment, uh, most of our organs can be transplanted from donor body. So this is another breakthrough. So there's high hope for transplantation of organs, provided the patient has sufficient finances to undergo transplantation experiment. And uh, another in another recent news from USA Today, actually pig kidney is transplanted into human brain dead human. So everything works perfectly fine. So this gives us a high hope that in the future, uh, xenotransplantation might be possible among human and different species of animals. So if this is possible within a short period of time, uh, we can easily go for transplantation from donor animal into human body instead of going for human to human transplantation. Because once we transplanted organs from donor to another, I mean, patient, the donor also have a serious case of premature death. This is something very risky. If a person donated one of his kidney to another person, we cannot say how many more years that donor will also live. Okay? So we cannot give any guarantee that's a problem. Even though the donor may not die immediately, there will be some consequences because we are not built to live with one kidney only. So I'm taking kidney as an example only. So the same problem will be applicable for almost all different types of organ transplantation. So the best thing is if this transplantation can be carried out successfully in the future. That means it will be very easy to, what to say, to grow genetically modified animals in which these organs require will be, what to say, grown, and then it will be easily, what to say, given to the required patient. At least that way, we won't have any human transplantation problem. It will save many humans from what to say, becoming victim to several unwanted problems. So this will also stop human trafficking problem to a certain extent, because most of the human traffickers, they used to, what to say, carry out illegal activities. They just used to, what to say, traffic human people just to harvest their organs. Okay, so this is something very terrible. So once we are able to go for xenotransplantations, these things will have no more problem, at least from my perspective. With this, I'm going to conclude my seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarabia, for taking out time from your busy schedule to provide us with such valuable information. Now we have come to the end of our program, and before that, I would like to express our sincere thanks to our respected principal, Mr. P.C. Leremsiama, for his endless support and encouragement, and to my colleagues who had been working very hard for the past few days to make this webinar successful, and to all faculties and research scholars from different colleges and universities, and to our valuable resource person for your kind presence and for accepting our humble request, and also to our wonderful students. We really appreciate your presence on our webinar, and also to the people from the health department also. And I would like to add that due to some internet poor connections, a lot of participants are not able to join us tonight, but from next week, more will be joining us. So I would like to request all who are present here to join us again next week at 8 p.m. Till then, everyone stay safe and have a good night's sleep. Good night, everyone.